It was making me lag.
Mac, I have been reading a lot about the presidents lately. I don't know why. It was a Wikipedia hole. Like I got real deep into the JFK conspiracy a couple weeks ago, like real deep into it. And then I just started reading about, kind of like all the presidents and their personal histories and whatnot. And it got me thinking. You might know a little bit about this because you're pretty into history. I was curious, and I'm curious to hear your thoughts on this. Which president do you think has had the most sex in the White House?
Dude, it's probably fucking James Buchanan.
Why? So here's my thing. I think people, if they ask that question, would jump either right to JFK or Clinton, and I don't think it's either of them. I think Clinton probably has done a lot in the Oval Office, but I don't think he ever had sex. I don't think there was ever intercourse involved. I think it was all foreplay.
Yeah, and also you have to look at the ages of presidents of when they were president, and also like thinking about like that. Like I feel like when they were like earlier, I think the presidents were a little bit younger as far as like maybe 50s when it kind of first started out to like 60s to 70s. Now we're in freaking
dude, they all died when they were like 65 back in the day.
Yeah,
except for John Adams lived till like he was 90, I think, though. He was like an exception.
The only well, I think didn't also Thomas Jefferson also live really long too? Cause they died.
They died like one day after another.
Yeah.
Like, I think the story was that John Adams died, and like his last words were like, Jefferson survives, but I think Jefferson died like 12 hours earlier, and he didn't know. It was just so crazy.
Yeah. The reason I say James Buchanan is because I'm pretty sure it's like rumored that he's the only was the only president who never married, and he had like a roommate.
Yeah, he had no kids or anything. Oh yeah, he did have a roommate, didn't he?
A roommate, yeah, his quote unquote friend.
Yeah,
that he had over. So definitely they got into it probably.
Oh, 100%. I definitely think a lot of people would jump to JFK too. But the thing is I think him and Marilyn Monroe would like meet at third-party locations.
Yeah, because I feel like
they would sneak around, and
I feel like why would you cheat on the first lady in where the first lady lives? Basically, like
I mean, Bill Clinton did it, so you know what I'm saying.
Do what you got to do.
I don't know. Can you imagine being president? I would never want that job. Nobody should want that job.
Just thinking about that much responsibility is kind of making me anxious right now.
Welcome back to the Basement Boys podcast, episode 2. We're talking about everything we like, movies, TV, sports, etc., whatever. Mac, we got a big show today. A big show. We got some movie trailers to talk about, some movie news, Marvel, Star Wars, DC, big news. Let's start out with some movie trailers. So, we got the first official trailer for One Battle After Another after getting a tease for it last week. What'd you think? I thought it looked awesome. It's sort of got like that dark comedy vibe. Which I was like enthralled by it because it's kind of like basically you go in. I was not expecting it to be as like maybe funny as it was because the trailer it portrays like at least like it portrays like Benicio del Toro. I'm guessing he's probably going to be majority of the comedic relief in this the whole entire thing because he was honestly from the little bit of trailer he was making me smile. I'm like I'm definitely going to enjoy this in the theater. Yeah, but yeah, it looks good. It does. We kind of talked about it last week. Like you haven't seen as many Paul Thomas Anderson movies as I have, but like he's I think honestly one of the best directors working today, and all of his movies are always like unique. They always kind of have like unique tone to it, and even like his darker movies always have some like comedic undertones. We got more of the plot for this trailer as well. Like the teaser didn't really give us anything, it was just kind of like one of those announcement teasers or whatever.
It was just like a hype up type of thing.
Yeah. So the basic premise is like
there's a group of friends, I guess not really, I wouldn't even call them friends. There's a group of people who used to be like some sort of revolutionaries. I don't know. The only thing I'm curious about is like, I don't know if they're revolutionaries like in a foreign country or in America, because I know this is based off a book, which the title escapes me right now. But in the book, it's like an alternative history where these hippies in California, like, they set up this small village that like declares independence from the rest of California or something like that, I think. So I don't know if it's going to be like along those lines, or if this is going to take place in like another foreign country. But basically, Leo's daughter gets captured by some like military commander who has a grudge against the revolutionaries, and they all kind of come back together to rescue her, I guess, is the basic premise, is what it looks like and sounds like.
The book is called Vineland by Thomas Pynchon.
Yep, that's it.
It's basically what you said, but it's set in 1984, which that's the vibe I kind of got from the movie, because, I mean, he was talking on a payphone, and I'm like, how many times have I seen a payphone?
I don't even think those exist anymore.
No, I kind of miss them, honestly. Just like seeing them on the corners of streets and seeing them every once in a while. But yeah, it looks, overall, I enjoyed it, and I'm looking forward to when it comes out.
Yeah, it looks good. Even the cinematography looks awesome too. Which in his movies, the cinematography is always good. So you know, like There Will Be Blood and Boogie Nights and stuff like that. So yeah, the second trailer we got this week was for Andor. So this is like the first official trailer after we got like a teaser about like a month ago, a few weeks ago, whatever it was. I enjoyed this a lot more than the teaser. The teaser wasn't bad, but I did think, I don't know if you watched the teaser, but I thought it was weird in the teaser how they had like modern day music in a Star Wars trailer.
Yeah.
It's just weird to me. I don't know.
I like the vibe of it. Like, I remember, I was like, I think I watched the teaser as well, but it's been a while. But yeah, I remember like hearing that, and I'm like, what is this? Like, because Star Wars is known, like, honestly known for crafting unique soundtracks for each of their pieces. Like, if there's one thing about, like, you can say about throughout anything, what are your opinions on Star Wars, is that the music honestly has been consistently good in every single like thing. Yeah, like, it's iconic, and you can kind of picture it out in each of the its pieces.
Yeah, I agree. As little as this sucks to say, because like this at one time was one of my favorite franchises, but as little as I care about modern Star Wars now, like, you're right, the music is always like phenomenal. But I definitely enjoyed this trailer a lot more. I loved season 1 of Andor. I thought it was honestly probably the best Star Wars since the original trilogy, if I'm being honest.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I'm excited for season 2. I wasn't even excited for season 1. I was like, oh my god, they keep doing this. They keep like going back to this one single, you know, like 30-year time period gap or whatever it is between Revenge of the Sith and New Hope. And I was just like, can we just like drop it? But then like I watched it and I was like, this is incredible. Like,
yeah, I think I was in the same boat. Like when it was announced. Like, I was like, why do we need, like, we kind of know the aftermath, we kind of know everything that happens, what more could it be? And it ends up amazing, like, when you actually put passion into a project and kind of like give it the love it deserves. It's like actually shows, and it's actually like translates, and it's not like it's not like something that's like, oh, this is like, there were like, I think maybe because it was under the radar, it's probably even like more lauded more, because it's like, it's not like one of their like flagship, it wasn't they're gonna be their flagship like shows like The Mandalorian and like even like Ahsoka and stuff like that, like kind of as hyped as those. It kind of came in, I mean, though it was like marketed well, it came in and then it knocked everyone's, like, probably blew everyone's expectations of it out of the water.
Yeah, for sure. I've actually been like, Tony Gilroy, who's like the writer and showrunner of Andor, after, you know, Kathleen Kennedy finally is fucking retiring, thank God. I kind of wanted him to take over Lucasfilm and run the Star Wars ship, but after he said some stuff later, which we'll get into here in a little bit, I was just like, all right, maybe not. I don't know. But yeah. I like his vision and what he does with Andor, so maybe he could be like the guy, because like I don't really want Filoni. I think Filoni's good at a lot of the TV stuff, but like I don't know if he's the right guy to head Star Wars and Lucasfilm. Favreau the same way. Like I like some of the Star Wars stuff Favreau's done, but I don't know if he's like an executive. I don't know if he has the skill set to be like an executive or a producer to run the whole ship. So I don't know.
Yeah,
I guess we'll see where it goes.
Yeah, I think honestly, what really they need to do is kind of, though it is kind of interconnected and kind of like quote unquote already in an expanded universe, I like it when it's kind of like Star Wars isolated stories, and none of the shows have anything to do with each other. They might mention things that happen in other things, but like I'd rather not see characters from those other things. I'd rather see like new characters. I'd rather see like different timelines. I'd rather see different parts of like the universe and kind of like things like that. And I kind of hope eventually that's where they're headed, because I'm sick and tired of seeing and hearing the word Skywalker, because like
I think that's why people like Skeleton Crew so much. Like I didn't love Skeleton Crew. I don't know if you watched it.
No, I haven't really watched much.
So I enjoyed it. I didn't love it. I thought it was fine. It was just, for me, it was like, it was a little too I mean, the whole cast outside of Jude Law basically are kids, and there's like two of those kids that are actually like good at acting. No offense, but like it's child acting's hard, and so like it's, I don't know. For me, it was just a little too kiddish, I guess.
I mean, isn't it technically like their kid like friendly kind of like version? It like not as So that's what I was thinking. That's probably why.
Yeah. A lot of people did love it though, because it was it is very disconnected from the wider universe. It did open up some cool concepts. Like there was a couple of details in that show they added that was, I was like, okay, that's pretty interesting. But outside of that, for me, I was just like, I don't know, it's fine. But people did love it. It got really good reviews from critics and audiences. So I don't know. All right, let's jump into movie news. So we're gonna start with Marvel, because this is the biggest news we got this week. It's wild, some of the crap that came out from Marvel this week. MCU looks like they may be just like throwing shit at the wall right now, but we'll see.
A bunch of spaghetti.
So there's a report that came out that Kevin Feige is, after the performance of The Electric State, is losing faith in the Russo brothers and the job that they can do with the next two Avengers films. So I don't know, we kind of talked last week, like it seems like the Russos are only good at building out movies inside of a specific universe when they have like a set of rules and structure they have to follow. Like when they're off doing their own thing, all their movies are just, they're bad.
But but that also, like, you could argue against that too, like, because I'm pretty sure Electric State is based off of like a graphic novel.
It's like an art graphic novel.
Yeah, it's like a novella, like an art novella. But it's like, I guess that's a little bit looser, but like it kind of like muddles. I'm pretty sure they kind of muddled the whole point of that art and like when making the movie. But yeah, it's I have kind of little faith in them. I mean, honestly, other than like, I'm trying to think. Other than the ones the MCU movies they've actually made, it's kind of been like they kind of have sucked as showrunners / directors.
I mean, here's what I say. I like Community. I don't know if you've ever watched Community. They did a lot for that show. Community is great. All three MCU movies they've done so far are probably three of my favorites. And I do think they're probably three of, the top 10, top 15 MCU films. But they were working under standards at the time of when this universe was at its peak, and everything was fully structured out in a complete timeline. Now they're jumping back into this universe when it's arguably at its lowest point, and they have to deal with all these multiversal storylines that are very convoluted. So I don't know how they're going to kind of just jump back in and take the reins and make it all work. I don't know. It's going to be difficult, I think.
I guess we'll see, kind of. Like, I mean, like, once... I kind of can probably gauge how good a movie is going to be based on its, like, trailer within the MCU.
Yeah,
100%. I literally called freaking... not Doomsday, Brave New World. I was like, this movie looks awful, and...
Oh, it looks so bad.
Yeah, I was not excited for it at all. And I called it, you know? Hit it from the half court.
Yeah. Next bit of MCU news. One of the rumors that came out this week was that Spider-Man 4 is looking to cast a young actor to be this quote-unquote young resourceful man, possibly an ally of Peter. So the speculation right now is they're looking for Harry Osborn, which I think would make a lot of sense. Mm-hmm. We've had 3 movies with Ned, and Ned is one of his friends / allies in the comics. But it was always weird to everyone, I felt like, when they announced like the No Way Home trilogy, Homecoming trilogy, and Harry didn't pop up at all in all 3 of those movies. So I think that would make a lot of sense. I mean, I don't really know what other character you'd want to bring in besides that.
Unless it's like I'm trying to think of any other characters.
Like maybe their version of Eddie Brock. I don't even consider him resourceful. Like, I don't know.
No, he's more of like, he's literally just a news reporter, and he's kind of like just a butthole.
And then
before,
I don't know. I bet it's Harry. I mean, they haven't confirmed, but
it kind of like the way they ended. The way they ended No Way Home. It kind of opens the door for him to get new friends because no one knows him, and it's kind of like, I feel like he kind of like, it kind of alludes to him moving forward and not like kind of holding on to the past, even though those were his longest friends that he kind of lost through his willingness to sacrifice a lot of that with Strange's spell. But yeah, I kind of would be excited for it to be Harry and kind of introduce the Osborns and kind of like throw in a little bit of Green Goblin up in there. Just love.
Yeah, I would too. I'm not the biggest fan of like the Raimi trilogy, but I do love those aspects, like with Harry and all of them. So I hope we do get to see them. It was also rumored that Spider-Man 4 they're casting for a female villain. So. Not sure what that is. I don't even know if I saw any speculation for it. I know the actress they're looking for is between, I think, 30 and 35 age range, I think. I don't know. I mean, they could gender bend somebody. He has female villains in the comics.
It could be
someone like Black Cat, maybe, or like...
Or it could be like what they did for the Spider-Verse and make a female Doc Ock.
Yeah, female Doc Ock, yeah.
That'd be kind of cool.
Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, there's speculation, too, that... I mean, we talked last week, Sadie Sink is being cast in Spider-Man 4. There's speculation that I think everyone thinks it's Mary Jane, which she might be, but there's speculation that she could be playing Black Cat as well. I mean, Black Cat her and Peter have had on and off relationships in the books. So I don't know. We'll see on that one. The last piece of Spider-Man news is the rumored main villain is Chameleon at this point. The weird thing is I mean, Kraven was terrible, but Chameleon was in Kraven. So the rumor is that Chameleon is going to be Spider-Man 4's main villain, but they don't know if they're going to call him Chameleon because he just appeared in Kraven, and they don't want to confuse fans, I guess.
Well, but like, aren't they 2 separate universes? So
yeah, and the fans are already confused about that anyway. So who gives a shit? So I don't know. I think it'd be cool. Chameleon's a cool Spider-Man villain. I've always enjoyed. I mean, he's got probably arguably the best roster of villains outside of Batman, I think.
I honestly think I mean, like, he could probably go toe to toe outside of, like, you have like probably like more nostalgia like picks because of Batman, because it's like probably we both grew up with the Batman animated series, so it's like kind of like it was right in our forefront. And like there was a good Spider-Man animated series, but I feel like
that Spider-Man series was fun.
I feel like that the Batman series was like hard to top as far as like quintessential like animated series.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think it'll be cool. I like how this I mean, No Way Home obviously brought in all those villains, but I like how this universe is kind of dug deeper into kind of like Spider-Man's B-list villains.
Yeah.
So I think Chameleon will be cool because we haven't really, I mean, besides Kraven, which I don't even count because that whole universe is bullshit. But I think Chameleon will be a cool addition to this universe, just getting to see his power set because he's not like Mysterio. He's not like Mysterio, but he wears masks. He's kind of like he can disguise himself as anyone. So he's kind of like this silent, behind the scenes assassin.
Yeah.
You never know like who Chameleon actually is.
And honestly, I think I like when like superhero movies get a little trippy and a little like thrillery, like kind of like who is this character, and I wish they would do that a little bit more because I feel like it's more. Some of them are a little bit straightforward, or they like kind of like are heavy-handed with how they deal with it. But like I feel like this could make a kind of really cool like thriller Spider-Man kind of where he's more like using his smarts rather than his brawn to win.
Yeah, I think that's true. All right, so the biggest Marvel news this week, which was just crazy because it was like a 5-hour long live stream that I did not watch, but I was refreshing the website I was tracking it on. Marvel announced the cast, so-called full cast, which I don't think it is. A lot of people are speculating that there's more to be announced, but right now I think it's 27 actors and actresses that were announced for the Doomsday cast.
Yeah.
So I'm just going to run through these real quick. So we have Chris Hemsworth as Thor, Anthony Mackie, Captain America, Sebastian Stan as Bucky, Paul Rudd, Ant-Man, Vanessa Kirby as Invisible Woman, Letitia Wright, Black Panther, Wyatt Russell, U.S. Agent, Ebon Moss-Bachrach as Thing, Tina Huerta as Namor, Simu Liu, Shang-Chi, Florence Pugh, Yelena, Kelsey Grammer, Beast, Louis Pullman, Sentry, Danny Ramirez, Falcon, Joseph Quinn, Human Torch, David Harbour, Red Guardian, Winston Duke and Baku, Hannah John Kamen as Ghost, Tom Hiddleston as Loki, Sir Patrick Stewart as Professor X, Sir Ian McKellen as Magneto, Alan Cumming returning as Nightcrawler. That was probably my favorite one, to be honest with you.
Probably.
Rebecca Romijn, Mystique, Channing Tatum, Gambit, James Marsden, Cyclops, and of course Robert Downey Jr. as Doctor Doom. Were there any of these that surprised or shocked you?
Probably all the X-Men coming back.
Yeah.
I think that's probably the most surprising. And the fact that it's not just Patrick Stewart and Ian McKellen. Just so, because I mean, like, because they've been in the most things, like just them two, because like and I guess Kelsey Grammer in.
Kelsey Grammer was in the post-credit scene of The Marvels.
Okay.
As Beast.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
I didn't know.
You never saw The Marvels, did you?
No, I have I'm hit or miss when it comes to seeing anything. So
yeah. So yeah, he was in the post-credit scene of The Marvels. Basically, at the end of that movie, Monica Rambeau. You remember her, right? From WandaVision? She closes this portal that's in between universes, but she gets stuck on the other side, and the other side is an X-Men universe. It's not clear yet if that's the original Fox X-Men universe or if it's just like a parallel
universe
X-Men universe. But Kelsey Grammer is there. It was fully CGI, and he just did voice work.
Man.
It didn't look bad. I mean, it looked fine. It was cool because we got like the on-screen Beast who is just wearing. It was basically like his X-Men animated series like look. He had just kind of like the underwear, and then the hospital. I don't know what. The doctor's gown or whatever the fuck you want to call it. The medical jacket. I don't fucking know, dude. But that's
I know.
That's
I picture it.
Yeah, but that's what it was. So that was cool. So we got to see that design on screen. So that's the thing with these X-Men castings is nobody really knows if these are going to be the versions from the original X-Men Fox universe. A lot of the scoopers are saying that this is going to be that Fox universe picked up after the end of Days of Future Past. So after Wolverine saves everybody, and then like post him traveling back to his timeline, you know, when everybody's like Cyclops is alive, Jean's alive.
Oh, so like kind of that alternate timeline where like everyone where the Sentinels didn't weren't a problem.
Yeah, so everybody thinks it's going to be picking up off the back of that. I didn't. I had been hearing they were thinking about bringing Stewart and McKellen back, but then like I saw Alan Cumming and I was like, no fucking way.
Yeah,
because like X-Men 2 is probably my favorite X-Men movie, and Nightcrawler is like probably tied for my favorite X-Men with Wolverine, and I loved Alan Cumming in X-Men 2, and his scenes were all so good in that movie. I was always sad that he never came back in that universe. So I thought that was cool, and it's funny because he has this, I don't know if he has this reality show called Traitors that he hosts. It's like this reality type game show. Like these celebrity reality TV stars go to this mansion in Scotland, and they play. It's called Traitors, so like 3 people get picked by Alan Cumming as the traitors, and they like murder each other and try to win money. But Steph and I watch it together, so it's cool getting to see him on there every day. But he doesn't really act that much anymore, so I was like shocked that they actually got him to come back for this. And then I thought Channing Tatum. I mean, my Deadpool and Wolverine reviews on my other channel, and I talk about, like, I loved Channing Tatum as Gambit. I thought he was incredible in that movie.
Yeah.
So I'm glad they're bringing him back. James Marsden as Cyclops, that's awesome. I feel like he got done dirty in a lot of those movies, so that'll be cool to see him come back. Maybe get, like, a official send-off that's, like, appropriate and actually honors that character.
Yeah.
I think... Here's the thing. A lot of the scoopers are saying that there's still 23 more actors aroundabouts that need to be announced for this movie. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But I do think it's weird that like Hugh Jackman's not on this cast list. Because I think after Deadpool and Wolverine, like he's got to be in this movie, right? I mean...
maybe. But maybe not. Because of like... I don't know. Because also you can look at, like, you can say Ryan Reynolds as well, like,
yeah, or Halle Berry, like she's not on the list either.
Yeah, not Halle Berry, or I'm surprised that they don't have any more villains as far as like, you know, because they brought them back for Deadpool. Well, I guess, you know, if they're technically, aren't they dead?
Yeah, yeah.
Never mind. I just remembered parts of Deadpool and Wolverine.
It's also, there's been rumors that Nicolas Cage is coming back as Ghost Rider too, but he didn't get announced. And this could be like a Infinity War Endgame situation where some people are in one and some people are in the other. Like,
yeah, like Secret Wars could be like the post.
Yeah. So like a lot of people were like, "Where's Tom Holland?" But from what I've read, Spider-Man 4. The plot for that takes place during Doomsday, so I don't think Tom Holland is actually going to be in Doomsday. I don't think he's going to show up until Secret War.
And I wonder if, like, the actors in Doomsday maybe some of them might not be in Secret Wars, because either they could be, like, I mean, like, I don't know, I feel like that's a huge cast, and I feel like, honestly, like...
It's so big.
Some of them are probably going to die. Probably Patrick Stewart again.
Yeah.
I've
also heard...
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
I like hope they kind of do better than they did in the Multiverse of Madness, where they kind of just introduce them just to kill them off and kind of make them look stupid. Or just like to show how badass the villain was, which is like, that's fair, because like, I mean, Scarlet Witch is probably one of the like strongest like magic users in the MCU.
Yeah.
But it's like, still, it's like, I want them to have a little bit more impact than just going there to say, hey, so-and-so, like, something like, kind of like hindering them just so Scarlet Witch can kill them all, basically.
Yeah.
That's
true.
Yeah.
That's fair. Yeah, but some of the biggest omissions, besides Tom Holland, I mean, there's no Captain Marvel, so there's no Brie Larson. There's no, like you just said, there's no Elizabeth Olsen for Scarlet Witch. which are a couple of the big ones.
Did no Benedict Cumberbatch either?
So, yeah, they didn't announce him. He had an interview a couple weeks ago where he said he's not in it, but then he came out on like Instagram and said he was in it. So I don't know. Yeah, because there's him, and then so we have him. There's no Wong on here. So I don't know. There's a lot of people that they still need to like. Miss Marvel, Monica Rambeau, like I said, like Monica's trapped in another universe, so it's weird that like she's not on here either. But like I said, maybe it's the thing where some of them are in Secret War and not in this one.
Yeah, and also you got to look at maybe Doomsday and Secret War are kind of like introduce it. I don't know if it's going to be. I kind of am curious to see what eventually the plot will be, and how they introduce Doctor Doom and how all of that. Like, I'm not excited. I'm like as milquetoast I am on Robert Downey. I love Robert Downey Jr., but as him being cast as Doctor Doom, I'm like kind of milquetoast on it. As far as
same.
like.
Yeah, I did a whole video on it a couple months back when it got announced. I don't like it. I think it's just very
hokey,
nostalgia bait, to be honest with you. I think, and no offense to this casting, I think a lot of this, they're trying to pull out the nostalgia, which I don't love, but I do like seeing the X-Men back because I felt like that universe never did get a proper, honorable send-off. One thing I am a little disappointed in, I love McAvoy and Fassbender as Professor X and Magneto as well. I was hoping maybe they'd bring all four of them back, but I don't know. Maybe they will. But I feel like they didn't get their rightful send-off either, which sucks because they were both great in those roles as well.
Even in the bad movies, they were still good.
Yeah. Like, I watched Dark Phoenix. It was completely terrible, but they were both great in that movie. So I don't know, we'll see. Apparently, like after the live stream finished, there was like RDJ was on Instagram saying that, like, I don't know what the back and forth was, but him and Kevin Feige were like replying to each other in the Instagram post saying that there's still more to come. So I don't know what that means. Maybe this week they'll do like another 5-hour live stream, which is just insane, but I don't know. We'll have to wait and see. Maybe this cast is going to be like 60 people deep.
Yeah, I hope. I not hope it's 60 people deep, but I just kind of feel like maybe they'll get probably like most. I feel like a lot of these people, it might focus on like 5 or 6 of them, and then like the rest will get like a scene or two, and maybe like if they are the focus of this one or not, then they might be more focused on in the second one. But I guess we'll see. I mean, like I guess my optimism isn't at an all-time low for anything related to Marvel.
So you can't be anything but surprised.
Yeah, I can't really be like maybe I can't be anything but surprised. I can be disappointed. I'll be probably most likely not really, maybe not disappointed, but also like
you'll just be like, I expected this.
Yeah, kind of like
So I don't know, we'll see. I mean, here's my thing. As much as I love Infinity War and Endgame, I wish if they're going to do these big Avengers arcs where like it's this giant universe threat and they have to like, deal with it, I wish it would be a 3-movie arc. Like, I love Infinity War and Endgame, but I feel like there was so much room in there to just expand on it and make it even more interesting.
I think also you have to look at like the Civil War, like they did a way better job at building up Infinity War because
100%.
You had Thanos in almost every single like post-credit scene of a lot of the movies, him just like being menacing and kind of
like references, or the post-credit scene was like a reference to one of the stones or whatever.
Yeah.
So it was always in the back of people's mind. But yeah, it's a huge cast. There's some exciting actors. Maybe it's all nostalgia. Maybe they'll actually write them in a way that makes it good. So I don't know. We'll see. It's still a couple of years down the line. So they have not much time, but a little time to adjust if they need to.
6 years.
Some slightly, I guess it is pretty disappointing news. So Blade, I think on Thursday there was a news break that they were going to hire Chad Stahelski, who did the John Wick movies. This is going to be that movie's like 6th or 7th director, I think. It's been like, it's changed writers and directors 1,000 times at this point.
Yeah, it's pretty depressing.
And then a report came out from an insider yesterday that they put the movie on pause officially, and that they're just going to introduce Blade in one of the ancillary projects. Ugh. So after, it's been like 6 years since that movie got announced, I feel like.
Yeah, if that.
Yeah, it's not happening, I guess. At least for right now.
And honestly, that was the one thing I was hoping, praying, and looking forward to. Even though as bad as the Blade movies are, I
like the first two. I think the first two are pretty good. The first one especially.
Yeah, the first one is real. That first opening scene in Blade is iconic. Honestly, it's so good, and it's like they really captured the character well in those, and they kind of the world, and his I don't know. They were cool movies, and I'm just disappointed because it's been almost. It's gonna be 30 years before probably any reference to Blade other than in Deadpool and Wolverine, literally.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, Mahershala Ali, it sounds like he's still on board for this. Dude's pushing 60 though, I think, at this point. So I'm surprised he still wants to do it. His character has been introduced once, and it's in a post-credit scene with just his voice. So it's I don't know.
Hey.
I mean, I'm surprised he still wants to do it. Good on him. I hope he does. I think he would be a phenomenal Blade.
Oh, I think so too. He's actually only 51. So.
See, I was.
So we still got, and you know what's crazy? Blade was supposed to come out this year. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So I don't know. This sucks. I can't say I'm surprised with how many writers and directors they've been through. It seemed to for a while it was probably just going to get shelved. There has been talk about them making a Midnight Suns movie, which would be cool. So it'd be him and Ghost Rider and Werewolf by Night and all the weird horror supernatural characters. So I would love that. So I don't know. We'll have to see. Maybe he'll get introduced and it'll be all good, and maybe we'll get an origin story later down the line. So
yeah,
and then. The last rumor for the MCU that came out this week was that Thunderbolts are kind of going to be, for right now, at the forefront of the MCU. So they're going to be the pseudo Avengers team, I suppose. It seems from what I've read, their roles are going to be pretty big in the 2 Avengers movies coming up. So everything I've heard from the Thunderbolts, which comes out next month, which is crazy. That movie, in the early reactions and early screenings, has been getting very favorable reviews. I guess take that with a grain of salt, though, because Brave New World also got favorable reviews, and it was terrible. So, I will say, though, I think Thunderbolts does look very fun. I am excited for it.
Yeah, it looks, at least it will be entertaining, and I'm just still wondering how they're gonna fight this guy, because of every single clip I see of his powers, I'm he could just do that to any of them.
Yeah,
turn him into a shadow, a silhouette.
Yeah, Sentry. I will say it is weird. Just getting back to, not to jump back into what we were just talking about, but looking at the casting, it is weird that they kind of spoiled a lot of Thunderbolts. Obviously, Sentry's not going to die because he's sticking around from the casting of Doomsday. And it seems like all of those characters outside of Taskmaster, but everyone's kind of already speculated that she's going to die anyway, because she's not really in a lot of the scenes in the trailers.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that's cool with me. I mean, I like all those characters. If they want to put them at the front of the universe for right now. I mean, this universe is without the Avengers. They're all kind of, after Endgame, everybody's split up and doing their own thing. So they could be kind of everyone thinks that the Asterix and the Thunderbolts movie name is because they're going to be the Dark Avengers at the conclusion of the movie. So that could be fine with me, I guess.
Yeah, that's cool.
All right, let's jump over to some DCU news. Bradley Cooper is cast in the new James Gunn's upcoming Superman film. I think it's all but confirmed he's going to be playing Jor-El, so it's Clark's real father from Krypton. So I like that. I mean, I love Bradley Cooper. Righteous Gemstones is back on for its last season, and he's actually in one episode.
Oh, really?
Like, yeah, he plays like John Goodman's the dad or whatever, and he plays like I think John Goodman's like great-great-grandfather during the Civil War. And he's incredible. He's in 1 hour-long episode, and of course, like Bradley Cooper's an incredible actor, and he's amazing in that whole episode. So, I think it's great casting. I mean, he has a prior history with James Gunn, obviously, doing Guardians, and I think he's always kind of got like that. He's kind of got like that father feel to him now. I mean, he's in his late 40s, early 50s, playing older roles, and I think he'd be cool as Clark's real dad.
Yeah, and especially since I think that'd be cool, especially like in kind of mentioning I feel like that's probably how they're going to introduce like backstory, is probably through flashbacks would be my guess, because doesn't Jor-El die because Krypton was destroyed?
Yep. Yeah, so. I assume so. Yeah, because I mean, in this movie's supposed to be a lot like Matt Reeves' Batman, where it takes place in the first couple years of Superman, so it's not necessarily an origin.
It's just I kind of like that in a way. You're kind of still like seeing, like, though it is still nice. It's like kind of cool, like seeing an origin story and stuff like that. But I feel like we have had so many origin stories that it's agree. Kind of like the formula's like roughly the same, like no matter how different each like origin could be, it's still like hero has like some type of tragedy, hero gains powers or like training or something, hero gains like confidence in being a hero, and then fights villain, blah blah blah, stuff like that. But yeah.
And just some more Superman news that came out of last week as well. A couple months ago, it was reported the Superman screenings weren't great. Some of the executives didn't love it. They thought it was too jokey. During that time, James Gunn was doing some reshoots. So they had some screenings maybe last week or the week before, but the reviews have been a lot better. But again, take that for what you will, like with a grain of salt, because these early reactions you can never really know. But we are just about 2 and a half. Well, I guess we're still like 3 months out from.
Yeah, it's like July. July.
Yeah. So I don't know. I mean, I'm still excited for this movie. I like James Gunn. I like the work he did on Guardians. Though that is a totally different tone than what I want Superman to be. So that part does make me nervous. I don't want this movie to be as comedic, obviously. I really want that like very earnest, like Boy Scout style Superman.
I want to be leaving that theater that like with so much hope in my heart that I could feel like I could just do anything.
Yeah, I loved most of the first teaser trailer that we got. I don't love how many characters are in this to start out with. Like, this is they say this is the first official movie in the universe, but all the Suicide Squad is going to be canon, so whatever. I don't love how many characters are in this standalone Superman movie, but maybe he can pull it off. He is good with expanded casts.
So. Yeah, he's good with that, but also I just want it to be, I hope that it's like, I know he does have a main character in each of his, like, main quote-unquote, kind of focus character who's gonna, like, how he tells, like, the story throughout. Usually, sometimes it's, like, kind of like with Suicide Squad is kind of like there was kind of a lead character, it still was like everyone felt like equal footing, but I just hope the focus is on Superman, like the other heroes can be helping him, but I hope they don't take away I hope I don't leave theater being like, oh, that was a good ensemble movie, like.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah.
All right. Final bit of movie news here. Some Star Wars news. Tony Gilroy, who is, like I said earlier, the writer showrunner for the Andor series, wants Star Wars to make a Star Wars horror film, and he also wants them to produce a Star Wars sitcom. I saw this, and I was like, I was just like, stop. Just stop this. I do not want a Star Wars sitcom. All I could think about was like, I pictured WandaVision with like Mark Hamill, and like I was just like, I don't. Nobody wants
Han
this.
Solo or like
yeah,
Harrison Ford. Like I think honestly, I think it would be hilarious, but like, who would you cast as in a sitcom though for Star Wars?
Could you do a C-3PO R2-D2 sitcom?
Dude, that would be like, but like
buddy cop sitcom,
buddy cop, or like just like roommates.
Yeah.
like roommates, and they kind of like just go on adventures, because I feel like that could be good, because honestly
basically in every project.
Yeah, like that would be cool, and you could just like kind of recast people to play each one of them. Honestly,
yeah.
You know who could be I think would be I know he's done with, like we just mentioned, Alan Cumming could be probably a good fucking C-3PO.
I mean, Anthony Daniels, who plays him, is still alive.
I mean, but how old is he?
He's got to be in his late 70s, probably.
Maybe if not older. I could probably find it out, but
yeah. So I don't know. I don't love it. I think the Star Wars horror could be interesting. Like if they did like a Sith style horror movie, I think that could be kind of cool.
I think you could. He's 80 or 79.
Oh,
but see? I think you could do like a lot of weird things with Star Wars. There's like so many like lore horror things that are within the lore of Star Wars that they could do. Like, yeah, I keep getting stuff about, like, when I'm scrolling through feeds, I keep getting like, oh, the scariest things in the Star Wars universe, and every single time I'm kind of like afraid, but I'm generally afraid of space in general, so it kind of hypes up my like fear. But you could do something about a Star Weird, which are these I gotta look at weird, which are these like ancient creatures that resonated with the Force and were considered great terrible power. These creatures were capable of attacking by making like emitting a powerful sound that could reach a height comparable to that of a starfighter engine, like causing great pain, kind of like weird.
Jesus.
Yeah. Like causing people's ears to bleed and stuff like that. It like they're fast. They're like crazy looking like things. Like there's so much crazy things you could kind of do. You could do like something set in like the lower levels of like Coruscant,
criminal underground. Yeah,
and like kind of make like a spy like a more not spy thriller. There's already plenty of spy stuff in Star Wars, but like a escape from the like the depths of Coruscant and kind of make it like a survival horror type of thing. I don't know. There's a lot of things you could do. I would be more excited for a horror thing in Star Wars than I would be. Sitcom. But
yeah,
I think if they like went all in and kind of, I would watch it. I wouldn't maybe think it was good, but
yeah, no, I'm in the same boat.
Yeah, like if it was C-3PO and R2-D2, I would be at least curious.
It would be interesting. All right, so let's talk about the big premiere this weekend. Jason Statham's new action-filled flick, A Working Man.
Working Man.
So, I don't know, man. I think we saw the trailer for this when we saw Wolfman back in January.
Yeah.
And both of us were just like, nah. Like, it's just... Jason Statham, God love him, does the same movie. Like, he puts out the same movie twice a year, I feel like.
Yeah.
And...
They're okay.
Working Man... Yeah, I mean, they're fine action movies. They you know what they do? They remind me of like the old like action movies from like the 80s with like Stallone and Schwarzenegger and all them. Just like
the Expendables,
like shit like that.
He was in those too.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, so I don't know, man. So I'm not going to focus on the plot for too long because it's like if you've seen the trailer, you kind of know the plot. So he's a construction worker, ex-military. I will say, the opening credits were sweet. They do like this. They do kind of like a James Bond style opening credits where it kind of goes through his past as like I think he was a Marine.
It's weird. He was like a counter-terrorist agent. Yeah.
Jason Statham's British, but at one point he does say the country of his birth. So I assume his character was born in America, but he grew up in England, but it allowed him to serve in the American military or whatever.
I don't know.
Who gives a shit? This movie's not great. But so he's a construction worker. Michael Pena plays his boss. Michael Pena's daughter gets abducted by these Russian gangsters. presumably to get sold into sex trafficking, and they hire him to find her. And it's one of those classic guy was like an ex-hitman or ex-assassin or ex-deadly marine who moves away from that life to start a new life doing something different, but he gets pulled back. It's that same storyline. Yeah. It's like Taken, kind of. So yeah, I don't know. It wasn't great.
No.
The action sequences, for the most part, I thought were fun. The acting across the board is just horrific.
Oh, it's awful. It's awful.
And the dialogue is terrible. This movie was written and directed by David Ayer, who did the original Suicide Squad and that stupid ass Bright movie with Will Smith with the orcs. That was cops or whatever.
Yeah.
And then here's the thing: David Ayer did Fury. I don't know if you ever saw Fury.
Oh, Fury's really good.
Fury is so good. I just don't understand what happened to this man's career after that. That is like one of my favorite war movies, and it's genuinely, I think, a very good film. And he wrote Fury too, so I don't know what happened.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I was like, maybe he was partnered with a.
No,
I'm guessing maybe like it was just like everyone involved in that movie just kind of like elevated it.
Yeah,
because the cast is really amazing.
The cast was incredible.
Yeah, pretty sure. But yeah.
So I was when I was watching this earlier, I was kind of going through David Ayer's filmography on Wikipedia, and he did a movie with Jason Statham like last year or the year before called The Beekeeper, which I had seen like one trailer for, and I was like, I'm definitely not seeing that.
Oh, The Beekeeper.
Never did. And I just read like the quick synopsis on Wikipedia, and it was like, he's a beekeeper, obviously, but he takes revenge on like these gangsters or something because they killed his landlady who got involved in a phishing scam like online. I was like, what is this? What? Like, it was just like the most ridiculous sounding movie I've ever heard. And I was like, okay. And then this movie, like, I'll tell you what threw me off about A Working Man. Hang on, let me say this. There's this part in like the first 25 minutes when he starts his investigation to try and find Michael Pena's daughter, and he's like, he finds he finds a Russian gangster, or like one of their like cohorts or whatever, and he's he's waterboarding him in his bathtub, and he pulls him up for air. And this guy's like, who are you? What are you? And Jason Statham doesn't respond. And I was really hoping he would have just been like, I'm a working man.
Yeah.
And just like dumped him back on
it's literally a missed opportunity.
I know. What are you doing? But then like later on, in like the halfway point, he's talking to one of his ex-Marine buddies like on the phone, who now I think works for the FBI or whatever. And he's trying to have him get him some intel on these Russian mobsters. And he's like, oh, Jason Statham's character, you've been out of the game forever. And he's like, yeah, I'm just a normal working tax man. And I'm like, you had another opportunity where you just didn't do it. Like, what are we doing here? And then, because if there's one thing, like, this movie's not good, but you could at least throw us a bone with, throw
like
the title
a stupid title. Like, I love a good title in a movie. Like,
yeah,
what are
it's
we?
the best, dude.
Like, dude, working tax man, couldn't you edit it? Like, look, guys, what are we doing here? Like,
and then like, dude, I couldn't keep track. There's so many nameless, faceless Russian gangsters he comes in contact with multiple times throughout this movie, and I'm like, okay, I think we've seen this person before.
Yeah,
I don't remember who they are. There's like, he goes to this motorcycle bar to meet these characters, and it's like a bearded guy and a crazy looking girl. But then the people that abducted the girl are also a bearded guy and a crazy looking girl, and I thought they were the same couple, but they're different couples of people. And I didn't realize it until like the third act that they were different sets of people. And I was like, I thought these were the same people this entire movie.
Yeah, I went through the same thing. Like, kind of like, they look so similar in the way that like they could have did a little bit different, like, makeup on either of them and to make them look like slightly different, but they're just like, nope, this is good. We'll just make them look literally almost the same, or like act almost the same, basically.
Yeah. And then it's just weird because he keeps he like interrogates the same gangster like multiple times, and then he finds the girl at the end, and there's this big action sequence where he goes to like the main Russian mobster's house and like kills everybody and rescues her, and she, for some reason, she's a formidable opponent as well. She escapes multiple times.
Oh yeah,
keeps getting capped. It's so weird.
Yeah, like I'm like, this movie could have ended like 20 or 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, but like, it's just weird. He like comes in contact with like the same two guys over and over and interrogates them, and I'm like, okay, so they didn't give you the people's name the first time, but the second time they're like, all right, here it is, here you go.
Yeah, like it's like, what do you add? I mean, honestly, he doesn't really do anything different.
Yeah, there was a couple moments actually while watching this. I thought I was watching a vampire flick because there's multiple shots in these clubs where people are dancing and doing drugs. And it just looks like something out of Blade. Like, if you've ever been to a nightclub, this is not what it looks like. No. And there's a lot of people in this movie that look very vampire-looking like.
I wonder like, if at one point this movie used to be like a vampire movie.
Maybe.
Or they took clips from a different movie and put it in this one.
Yeah, like the one Russian gangster that he interrogates a second time and then ends up taking him with him to the house to rescue the girl. That guy looks like a Jared Leto knockoff. He literally looks like a vampire. And I was like, is this a vampire movie? Because it sure seems like it. And there's like I'm jumping all around, but like this movie was just, there was so much.
No, I'm telling you, the first like 20 minutes of the movie, like it felt like I was watching like 3 different movies. As far as like aesthetic and lighting, like it goes from like him at his job to him at the club to like him, like it like jumps around so much, and it's like every time I feel like it's like, I don't know, it just wasn't cohesive, and kind of like, I'm like, oh my goodness, why is it going so quickly? And I'm thinking like, oh, this movie's not that long. It's like almost 2 hours. Like, yeah. I'm like, if they're moving this fast at the beginning, this movie's got to be like an hour or like an hour and 20. Like, no, it's literally 2 hours. And there's a scene where she escapes. This is at the end, and she gets captured. Like, she gets like, this is quote unquote spoilers. I don't know if anyone's gonna see this, but she like gets picked up by the cops. And literally the cops, like, take her back immediately. They're knocking on the window. And, like, right after that, it cuts to, like, her in the car. And then she literally immediately, that cut, it gets thrown into, like, the water. I'm like, okay. Yeah. I'm like, I'm kind of confused right now. And then, the dialogue for when the guy's phone rings, for whatever. I'm just like, what is this movie?
The one girl kidnapper's so annoying, too. She just, like, unnecessarily just cusses up a storm.
Oh yeah, and they're like,
every single scene
she's what the fucking fuck?
Yeah,
I'm just like,
and there's this hilarious part at the beginning. Like, so the daughter gets abducted from a bar. Like, it's so stupid. She finishes her first semester at college, I think is what it was, and she's like, Dad, me and my friends are going out to like celebrate our first semester, and I'm just like, okay, nobody really, whatever. So she goes out to the bar with like her 6 girlfriends, and they do like this. They dance to this. First of all, like I went, like we both went to college. I never saw girls dancing like this in the bar, like this synced up. They're just like, it's like they're dancing in like this choreographed style all together.
Yeah, unless it's like
who fucking does this?
I was gonna say, unless it's like a line dance or like a type of like, unless there's like a specific dance to the song, then I wouldn't see more than like 2 people doing the same thing in a club, unless it's like kind of like, I mean, like, unless like it's a bunch of friends and they're all just doing like not synced up dance moves, just stupid dance moves or like something silly. But I say this as a white person who can't really dance anyway. So,
dude, the other the tone of this movie's all over the place.
Oh yeah.
So there's this character. So Jason Statham has a young daughter. She's probably like 11, maybe. So he has PTSD. Well, people say he has PTSD. I think his wife committed suicide. I think they said that. I could be making that up. So he doesn't have custody of his daughter. He pulls up in very early on in this movie to this giant mansion to pick up his daughter because it's his like visitation hours or whatever. And he greets this man outside the mansion who's wearing like this ridiculous tracksuit and like this stupid like neon painted like top hat style thing. And I'm like, what is happening? Like, what is this? And when the guy first walked up, I honest to God thought it was Will Ferrell. And I was like, is this Will Ferrell? And then like they're talking, and the entire time they're talking, I thought this was like this girl's stepdad. And then it's like later in the movie you find out it's his wife's dad that got custody. So it's the girl's grandpa. But for like an hour, I had no idea who this guy... Like, I had no idea what that plot point was. Like, it was just so weird, and he's dressed ridiculous in every scene he's in, but his character is very serious, and I was like, this doesn't work. I don't know who thought this was a good idea, but it's not. And because later he fights these two, like the sons of the Russian mobster, he fights and kills them, and they're wearing like the exact same outfit as this guy. And I was like, none of this works. None of it matches. None of it makes sense. And it's just crazy. This movie is wild, but not in a good way. Like every time they switched to a new scene and new people got introduced, I was like, this movie, everything's out of fucking left field in this movie.
Honestly, it's like, I think this movie, like, between our first, like, I feel like, honestly, we should just keep this bad movie streak going. Because, like, last week's was just, like, dreadfully, like, awful in, like, a bad way. This was kind of awful in, like, a entertaining way. Where it's like, I wonder what's going to happen next, and you kind of can't really understand what is going to happen because it's so poorly acted, so poorly like edited. Written. I feel like
the dialogue is so bad.
It's so just a bad. It's like kind of like when those bad movies, like a bad action movie in general. Like if you can picture a bad action movie, I'm trying to think of one off the top of my head, but the only bad movie that people love or like to watch is Trolls 2, and that's the only thing coming to my mind right now for whatever reason. But it's kind of not on the level of Trolls 2 as far as like candid weird funniness, but it is kind of out there and kind of all over the place in a weird funny way, like kind of laugh out loud.
Yeah, there's a scene where he gets like he's getting chased by the sons of this Russian mobster, and he's I think he's on a motorcycle, but he crashes, and the cops are there, and then the cops come out to meet the Russian brothers, and the Russian brothers hand them a stack of money to the cops. And Jason Statham looks at the cops and he's like, "Oh no, you're on their payroll too." And I'm just like, "Yeah, we fucking know. Like, it's obvious. You don't have to say that." I'm just like there's so much bad, like, exposition heavy dialogue in this movie, and I was just like, dude, how did this same guy that wrote this write and direct Fury? It's just incredible.
Yeah.
But it's I don't know. What did you think? I thought this movie was terrible. So
yeah, it was pretty bad.
We're still in kind of like that limbo period, I feel like, at the beginning of the year where it's like shitty movies are coming out. Mm-hmm. So we're starting to turn more towards spring and summer, so we should be getting some good ones soon. So hopefully...
Yeah. There's been good movies that have come out. We just haven't looked out and seen them.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot. This movie, it sets up for a sequel. At the end, the Russian
Yep.
All the other Russians are like, if you go after this guy, we're not backing you. And he's like, I'll just fucking do it myself.
Do you
so
think,
I'm just like, oh my god, is there going to be a sequel to this?
Do you think they'll call it The Working Man 2 or like Working Tax Man? Because he did throw that out in there. Like,
yeah. Or maybe like Overtime Man.
Ooh. Or like do a Too Fast, Too Furious, like Too Hard to Be a Working Man or something like that.
Dude, the funniest part about that title is you don't really ever see him work on the construction site.
He just has a hammer in his hand in a couple of scenes.
Yeah, it's like when he gets introduced on the he like sleeps in his car, I guess, because so like he wakes up, brushes his teeth in the car, goes to the construction site. He's there for like 2 minutes, barely doing work, and then like some gangsters show up threatening one of the other workers, so he beats them up and just whips a shotgun out on a construction site and points it at him. Mm-hmm. And then that's it. Every other time he's on the construction site, it's like inside Michael Pena's like managerial trailer.
Yeah.
And like I was like, all right, cool. So I don't know. David Harbour's in this.
I did see that. Like, there's a scene with him in it, and I was like, is that David Harbour?
Yeah, a couple.
Is that David Harbour? And it's like, I didn't know, honestly. Like, I don't think he's in the trailer at all, and if he is, he's not, like...
Yeah, I don't know.
In it for a little bit, but yeah.
He's like his ex-Marine buddy who's like he's like legally blind, but not all the way blind. He's like good with a bow and arrow. He doesn't do anything. He just gives like sage wisdom every time Jason Statham needs it.
And there's also a classic, like, equipment scene in this.
Oh, yeah. Just rattles off every weapon he has. Yeah. Oh, he does... I guess he does serve a purpose because he takes Jason Statham's daughter to protect her while he goes and fights these guys. So
yeah, so she doesn't get kidnapped too.
Yeah. Anyway, that's A Working Man. So see it if you want to, but let me tell you, it's not a good movie.
I'd rather go to work.
Mac, what else have you been reading, listening to? Watching anything?
So I caught up on Invincible. I'm on season 3.
Nice.
And I'm making my way through Severance, which honestly both of those have been a treat.
Yeah, you've never seen Severance before, have you?
No.
This is like your first time watching it.
This is my first time watching it. I'm enjoying it.
It's so good.
I tried to watch it today on my computer, and I forgot my password, so I was like, well, I'm just going to watch Invincible instead. And just ended up watching the first episode of season 3, so... Honestly, nice. I'm pretty excited. I don't know what I'm going to watch after Severance and Invincible. Might go to, like, maybe watch... I started watching this show on Netflix called The Residence, which is like a murder mystery, but set in the White House with... it has Giancarlo Esposito? No.
No. Just not even close.
Yeah,
poor Giancarlo.
It is Giancarlo Esposito. That's who's in it. And there's a couple of other people that are like kind of if you see them, you know them, but I can't think of their names. And it's kind of interesting. It's kind of like Knives Out. It pays homage to Knives Out, and a couple of each episode is titled a different murder mystery, and Knives Out is one of the episode titles. So
nice.
But yeah, that's what I've been kind of doing and reading, but. That's about it.
Yeah, I've been I don't know, man. It's that season of the year when all the shows are either coming back or new shows are premiering like all at the same time. So I've been like I feel like I'm watching a new episode of like a different show every day. Like White Lotus is still going right now, season 3, which is great. I love White Lotus. Season 3 is really good too. I mean, the first 2 seasons were good, but that's really good. Reacher just wrapped up. I'm actually going to drop a video review for that on my other channel tomorrow.
That's cool.
So I like Reacher, Invincible, like you said, finished. Severance finished, so I was watching those. But I think some other stuff's about to premiere here, too, soon in this next month.
I know there's...
I'll have to check out. Andor's coming.
Also, next month, I'm pretty sure Last of Us comes out as well.
Yep, Last of Us, and I've been watching Daredevil. So Daredevil's...
Yeah, I think that's might be what I watch once I finish Severance and Invincible.
Maybe you should watch Daredevil.
Yeah, if I can
talk about it on here.
Yeah, if I can get caught up on Daredevil or I think I'll finish Invincible this week, and then probably Severance, get maybe close to finishing Severance, and then I'll start Daredevil sometime this week, and then we can talk about half the season. Our episodes an hour each. Just...
yeah, I mean, they're like 45 to an hour. It just depends.
Then I'll watch.
But the last 2 episodes are... So the second to last episode comes out this week.
Okay.
It's good. I don't know if it's as good... It's definitely better than season 2 of the Netflix one.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's probably better than season... Well, I don't know. It's comparable to season 3. I don't think it's better than season 1, but it is still very good. And they just introduced the main villain, fully last episode, and he's phenomenal. He's so creepy and weird.
That's cool.
And I love it. But yeah, it's good. Highly recommend it. I have been watching that. I totally forgot that was on. And then we have Andor and Last of Us coming out, which is exciting. Andor's going to be weird. They're doing 3-hour-long episodes a week, so I think it's...
That would be rough. That'd be crazy to watch.
I want to say it's 9 episodes total, and they're doing 3 a week, which is just wild, but...
Yeah, I was hoping we could talk about an episode, but I guess we can talk about... I was thinking we could talk about I probably will be finished with, if I watch it like regularly, I'll probably be finished with the caught up maybe by when they release the finale, depending.
Yeah.
Because I'll probably, how many episodes? 8 would be my guess.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
Yeah, I could probably get.
Yeah. That's another one. There was no Charlie Cox on. They said he's going to be in at least one of the Avengers movies. I hope so, because he's so good as Daredevil.
Oh yeah, he's awesome as Daredevil.
But this season 2, he's incredible. The one thing I'm not to spoil anything, but he has another a different love interest in this season. The best on-screen chemistry that he has ever had with another actress in this entire show.
That's good.
And it's fantastic. Like, he is known, like, Matt Murdock in the comics is known to be, like, a serial, like, dater. Like, he just, sleeps around a lot. Yeah. So, yeah, I don't know. This is, like, his new love interest, and she's phenomenal. She's been in other stuff. I forget the actress's name. She was in, this show with James Franco on HBO back in the day that was really good. But yeah, she's fantastic.
I think I know what you're talking about. It's like where he plays a twin or something like that. James Franco does.
It's like about the porn and prostitution industry.
Yeah, kind of like an exploitation of that and stuff like that.
It is a really good show, and I'm upset with myself that I cannot remember the name, because I did really enjoy it.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, and I can't remember the name either. So we'll be both thinking about it later and just be like, oh, that's it. Or we could just both look it up, honestly. But
yeah. But yeah, so that's what I've been watching mainly, and then I just been reading Invincible. I read something. I try to read something different every night. So like I alternate between. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna sound like such a fucking nerd, but like, so I've been reading the first book I've been reading Game of Thrones because I've seen the show and I wanted to read the book. I have a Marvel Comics character encyclopedia and a DC Comics character encyclopedia, and I've been reading those because I got them for Christmas last year.
Yeah.
So I've been reading through those as well, and then I read a lot of, like, I've been reading Invincible, I've been reading DC, and then I alternate between like DC and Marvel comic books as well. So I just like
use Marine comics.
Yeah. Sometimes, honestly, though, because I try to read every night before bed, sometimes I'll just go down a Wikipedia rabbit hole, like I was with the JFK files a couple weeks ago.
I feel like I was going to say, I find it harder to read, like, a screen when I'm trying to go to bed.
Yeah.
Because I end up keeping myself up, like, a little bit longer than I would if I'm reading, like, a book. But I finished the book I was talking about last week, the second book in the Wheel of Time series, and I'm taking a break from that for this one book because I'm trying to finish this because I've been kind of meaning to finish it for a while. Like, I got it like 2 years ago. It's called In the Heart of the Sea by Nathaniel Philbrick. It's about the tragedy of the Essex, which is
dude, they made a movie about it.
Yeah. It's the whaling ship in the 1800s or 1700s, I think it might be the 1800s.
Who wrote Moby Dick again?
Herman Melville.
So didn't Herman Melville base that book on this tragedy?
Yeah, he kind of it was 1820. But he didn't do the post afterwards, after the encounter with the whale. He just did the lead up and fight with the whale when they finally got it, because it gets really hardcore where they end up like going crazy and some people get eaten and like kind of like just wild and like insane, like people like, and how quickly you can like kind of like lose your like sanity and like accept that the fact that you're like, oh, if I don't eat this person, then I'm gonna die. Like, if you don't eat something, then you're gonna die. And you're like, you see that person across you, you're looking like, oh, they're kind of, your legs are kind of looking a little good.
Yeah, I watched, because Ron Howard did a movie with Chris Hemsworth and Tom Holland a few years back, and I watched like half of it, but I could not. It did not get great reviews. It's very slow. I didn't love it, but people have said that the book is way better. But that's cool. So I don't know. I guess is that the show?
Yeah, I think so.
All right. Well, that's the show. Come back next week. We're going to do a weekly podcast, so We'll have a new episode next week. I don't know what movie we're going to cover yet. I think there's something that's premiering next week, if I had to guess, but I cannot remember what it is. Like and subscribe on YouTube. Follow us on Spotify. And you can also follow on Instagram the Basement Boys podcast. Basement Boys with a Z. So follow.
Those are cool like that.
Yeah. Let us know what you think, and we'll catch you on the next one.